Well, hello there. It's been a long time. Here we have today with us, guys, another authentic series. Quite possibly one of the finest authentic series that have been made. Welcome back to Studio One Vintage Guitars, New Zealand's home of vintage guitars. My name is Nick Brightwell. Today we're looking at a 000 28K 1921 authentic. This is not for sale, so I'll save you all the questions. It's just come by and the owner has been nice enough to lend it to us for a few moments so we can do a video on it. As you know, I'm a big fan of the authentic series, and this last year of doing this kind of work and playing these kind of guitars has just, solidified the fact that the authentic series is a great way to go. Now, this is a very, very interesting authentic. So it's a 1921, as you can see, all Koa authentic series. This is a carbon copy of the exact same design from their museum. So Martin and their museum have put aside one of these from 1921 as an example of what they were doing back then. So let's just go over all the things that this has going on. This guitar has a story. In the guitar where we hope that most guitars don't have a story. When we say it has a story, it means it's been through some hard times. This instrument was picked up in a insurance sale. Sadly, it was in a case. It was not submerged, but it was in a room, it seems, that was flooded, and it was subject to a lot of moisture. So what's happened to this guitar is all the binding around the back and sides have kind of come loose, but there's no water damage. It wasn't submerged. So we were very lucky to hear about this guitar, and now the owner has it, and it is phenomenal. Okay, so a 000 28K, there's a lot to unpack here, because when we're talking kind of pre-1929 Martin guitars, we're almost talking about a different world. We're all very familiar with what happened kind of in the 30s and afterwards, but from 1833 up until 1933, Martin was in many ways a very different guitar company. And this is probably an example of the best they did at this time. So, this being a 000, it is not a short scale, it is a long scale, so it's 25.4. The idea is really once the 14 fret neck in, that's when everything changed at Martin. Things started to, they removed models and all that. But to go over the specs of this, we have all Koa, back and sides, we have Ivoroid binding, we have a nice zipper, we have a nice kind of ring around the rosette, around the sound hole, we have the small pick guard. We have a pyramid bridge, which immediately means if you see a Martin with a pyramid bridge, that means it has lighter gauge strings on it. When we got this guitar, it had lights on it, so it had 12 to 53s. Once I got the spec sheet from Martin, it turns out, no, super lights. And very interestingly, as soon as we put super lights on this, the sound just changed completely. When I was playing it with lights, I was really trying to get the low end out of it and getting the resonance that I knew was in there, but it actually wasn't coming through. And once we got just a little less tension on it, it's just opened up amazingly. So let's just have a listen to that. So just an A. I'll just play a little bit, not talk all the way through. So I'm saying, to me, this is a very, very good guitar. Because of the parameters of this instrument, I feel like I play different stuff. It really lends itself to a different kind of sound, and that's really, I think, for the serious guitar players that are out there just trying to play all the different Martins and hear them. You're really just looking for what that instrument allows you to do. In the case of this, guitar, we're always thinking kind of E and A. It sounds great in A, sounds amazing in E. But to go over the specs just a little bit more, so we have a long scale neck. We also have 1 7/8, so it has a wider board, which is just great. Having the wider board, you just really do get this sense that the neck is just, there's more mass in it, so there's more vibration. We obviously have a slotted headstock here as well, and we have nothing on the head plate, which I love. You see that on a lot of the earlier kind of 20s and teens Martins. They don't have the logo up, but it does have a stamp on the back. Now, when we first got it and I was looking for the stamp, I was like, it's not there, and that's really strange. Generally there would be, but if you look very carefully, you won't be able to see it here, but basically if you hold it just right in the light, you see the full stamp there. It's just very light. And as I said, this is a carbon copy of what's in the factory, so they've copied to exactly what they did in the factory. So, being an authentic, it also means it has authentic style rear bracing. That's the name that it's been called, it seems. We don't have an official name for the rear bracing, but that means we have the ridges here, the two tall and straight, and then we have the low and flat on the back here. And as you know, I'm a big fan of that. I think that's what really makes the Martin sound the absolute best. And then we have a lightly braced top with Adirondack bracing. So it's all Adirondack bracing. Yeah, so let's just go over the guitar a little bit more. I have only really played this in standard tuning, so I wanted to save for this video kind of working through all the other tunings. But just to go over this model just a little bit more, I don't know anything about this other than the spec sheet I've seen. I've seen one listing online of another one of these for sale back in the past. Looking in the good book of all the big guitar prices, cannot find this listed. So I don't know exactly how many of these they made, but this is obviously a very special guitar. And I feel, you know, my heart goes out to the person that owned this and had to get rid of it in the insurance kind of working out. But to describe the sound of this guitar, it's almost, I like to say it's almost like a Hammond organ. Like it's just such a complex sound. I'll try and capture it, some of it now, but you really get it there. I should also say the strings we're using the Cova Super Lights, so that's 11 to 52s, and as I said, it did a huge amount for the sound of this guitar. Before we just had standard Martin Phosphor Bronze 12 to 53s, and yeah, these Covas just sound absolutely amazing. We've got these on a few of our guitars in shop, and I'm just trying them out at the same time just to see how they sound, and I'm liking them at the moment. They're very round sounding, kind of don't seem to dull like the retros do, the retro nickels. But anyway, let's try a little bit of drop D. It's sounding better and better as we go lower. Now I have tried to do Hawaiian tuning on this, you know, Hawaiian music, koa guitar. The limitations of this instrument is it's a smaller body, so you can understand why Martin got towards the dreadnought style and then, you know, moved to that, because bigger body means they can just, it has a lot more versatility in a way. But you know, this is a very good example of the best that Martin did back in the early 20s. You got to remember, like, this was the type of guitar that Jimmy Rogers played. This was, you know, Martin's biggest instrument at the time, so very, very used by the great musicians. It should be said that there was a huge push towards koa instruments at Martin, you know, kind of around World War I and earlier, because America and Hawaii had finally kind of merged, and America had taken Hawaii over as they were kind of fully in charge, so that meant they started going in there and logging all this lovely koa wood. And really, you could say Hawaiian music was the first kind of new music brought to America. So the Americans are listening to the European-based stuff and their own developments, you know, within those influences, but Hawaiian music was something kind of new, and so that brought in a lot of lap steel guitars, so that's why National and stuff all started to appear. You have all the lap steel players, There started to be Hawaiian parties, artists started doing Hawaiian kind of themed stuff. So Hawaii in a way became this cultural wave that washed over America, and Martin reflected that in bringing koa into their ukuleles and then bringing it into all their kind of models of the time. So if you're looking in the vintage world, you'll often see 00 28Ks, single O 28Ks kind of out there, all with herringbone. I should say this has herringbone as well, being a 28 style. But let's go through a little bit more. Now let's go down to open G. You can see why everyone back then was using open G, or as it was known, Spanish tuning, that came to America via Hawaii. It was I think it was the way it worked out, it was the Spanish had taken guitars to Hawaii, then the cowboys from Texas came down to Hawaii to manage the new cattle herds, and all that guitar culture kind of mixed, and somehow Spanish tuning, open G, made its way back to America. And then soon after that, you had America's first great kind of guitar artists start to mess around with tunings and realize that open G just sounds so great for this era of instruments. And this is a perfect example. You can just hear how open G you can hear that, the whole guitar is just reacting. Now that's a common feature on most smaller body Martins, long scale. Like you guys will notice when you play OMs, if you tune them down like a whole step, they are quite incredible. If you tune down to D standard tuning, they sound amazing. But I digress. Yeah, what a wonderful instrument. This is the first time that I've actually played an all koa guitar, and I am definitely a believer. Just to talk about koa briefly, it's essentially somewhere in between rosewood and mahogany. So it's an acacia. Which means it's that's the breed of tree. So like familiar or similar breeds would be black locust in America, and that's like a firewood, but being used a lot in newer guitars, like Gruen guitars. But the idea is that it has that kind of lack of overtones that mahogany has, but then it has some kind of rich response like rosewood. So there's some kind of overtone in here, but it's not as, say, flat as mahogany. Now, Josh, could I just, could I hassle you for a slide? Normally I'll be prepared, but I just better play slide on this as well while we're here in D. Take the black one. Oh, thank you. So here we've got a Rocky Mountain slide. These are made in Colorado. Thank you, Josh. And now the cool thing about this is it's kind of multi-shaped. So I haven't played slide on this guitar yet. Perfect for slide. Not sure about the strings in this slide though. Get a bit too much scrapey from the texture of the nickel string, but Right, we'll try it in open G, open D. The interesting thing is, so this is long scale, but it's also having the slotted headstock means it's got a little bit more tension on it as well. The nut seems to not play so nice when tuning though. We're going a little bit longer than usual because this is a special instrument. All right, we'll leave it there. I've gone on enough. So here we have once again a 0028K. This is a 1921 Authentic series. My name is Nick Brightwell. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this content, please like, subscribe and share. We've had a heap new subscribers recently because we've just hit 1,000 subscribers, so we're monetized now and it seems like everything's changing. So thank you to the first 1,000 subs and welcome to all you new subscribers out there. We're going to do a bunch more videos, but yeah, we'll leave it there. So have a good time. We'll see you next time. Cheers.